had you here. This is an interview we're having after the news about cybersecurity products that you're bringing up. With me is Tinashe Nahasha, and we'll just get right into it if you're happy to.
Yeah, fantastic. I'm really excited to be here, Lumakani. I can see Zimbabwe is treating you well. You're looking not a day older than when I last saw you. I unfortunately have definitely aged and lost a fair bit of hair, but I'm very happy to be here having a chat with you guys. It's always fun to have
Come back.
friends.
Come back.
Yeah. Well, trust me, it has nothing to do with him. I've lost some bit of hair myself, so I'm still in Zimbabwe. So David, we'll just jump right in. So we'll just start broadly, hey? Just to talk about the industry, it's the technology industry and changes. So the first general question I actually have is, say over the past 5 years, 3 to 5 years, what have been the trends that have been observing? Just across, I mean, like in your dealing with your customers, your partners, what are the trends that you've seen?
Okay, I mean, great, very broad but great question. I think I could probably talk to you for hours on this topic, so just cut me off when you think you've got the big picture from me. The last 5 years has been phenomenal growth, I would say, in the ICT industry in totality. I think the new services and the speed of growth that we're seeing, the change, the new ideas that are coming in. Obviously, cloud is a massive part of that. And the change of traffic patterns going more towards people hosting data and accessing data in the cloud has been phenomenal. I think the social media has obviously taken off and become much more video focused. I think the amount of video that we see on our network has skyrocketed in the last 5 years. I'm sure your viewers and you know very well the global statistics on things like video. It's enormous. It's the vast majority of internet traffic today. So we're just seeing increases of utilization across the board. We see ever most likely, and I believe for the good.
So that was actually going to be my next question. The COVID-19. Because I mean, there's a theory, right, that COVID-19 is accelerating trends that were already on their way. So sometimes you do get data on that. Sometimes it just feels like it's just a theory. What's your view observed? Maybe in numbers that you can share, or maybe it's just concrete examples that you've seen. Is it an acceleration of trends, or is there something new that has been introduced that probably we're not going to get to?
So yeah, I don't have a lot of numbers on my fingertips, unfortunately, but we are certainly seeing the traffic patterns change, as I said to you earlier. We've seen a lot of customers come to us and ask for increase of bandwidth, particularly on things like VPNs. We've seen a challenge with a number of companies that were not ready to work from home. And so as they had to rapidly go to a position of working from home, they had to rapidly adopt digital transformation products and mindsets. So for example, we've seen big increases, and this is a well-documented global phenomenon, on things like Microsoft Teams, Microsoft Office, obviously the Google G Suite equivalents as well, all have shown extremely big increases. And I think that's also created a number of challenges for enterprises, because suddenly your devices of your employees are off your network far more than they would have been before. You're accessing that data from insecure networks, and so it's really created more of a visibility issue for IT than we've ever seen before. And of course, IT always had a visibility issue. I think quite interestingly, in the last 2 years, the concept of shadow IT has increased. And actually, we've seen that today, the statistics I've been reading about is something like 10% of enterprise applications are actually run by the IT team. About another sort of 20% or so are run by the business units themselves, or the business line functions. And then the vast majority, something like 70% of applications, are actually user-led, not even seen by the IT department at all. So really, IT only seeing around about 10% of that, managing those applications today, with the rest being effectively unmanaged or even unsanctioned. So it really is a big change, and I think that has changed the security environment as well, and it's certainly changed the flow of traffic and how, especially with cloud in the cloud world, cloud-first world, how IT departments can see that. And that's certainly one of the challenges that businesses are facing, and one of the reasons why that we've kind of moved into our cybersecurity area to help businesses in that space.
And you have just walked into Limbikani's lane right there.
I actually just was curious to find out, like, so cloud is cybersecurity in the cloud, like a cloud-based approach to cybersecurity. Is that like one of the things that is that something that was accelerated from your point of view in terms of Liquid strategy? Like maybe at the beginning of the year, at the end of 2019, you were thinking, you know, phase this out. We'll ride on with this. Microsoft, get people to use more 365 Dynamics and stuff, and then there's just lots of customers start using Teams, and lots of people are asking questions. And is cybersecurity one of those things that you have to accelerate and say, hey, maybe this is something that we have to do now because we are working from home, and shadow IT is a bigger thing already than it was gradually becoming?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's very good points you make, and I think it's really a combination of a number of these items coming together, almost in a perfect storm that's accelerated it. There's no doubt that there's been a massive acceleration of cloud and cloud adoption, and therefore there are a host of new security challenges that come along with that. So that absolutely the two have come together. I wouldn't say Liquid sat down and had a pre-COVID strategy and a post-COVID strategy. I think we certainly we saw the longer term trends. We knew where this was going. I think COVID has changed the speed at which we've moved into this area. We've had a lot of focus on digital. Our digital sales are up very significantly. And we are doing more and more assistance on helping our customers do their digital transformation. So it's certainly shifted the time frames. I'm not sure it's shifted necessarily the trends themselves, which were already well established pre-COVID as well.
Okay, so there's been this whole transformation from Liquid, the connectivity services, and Liquid, the digital services, and is a platform or is an enabler for digital transformation. So how much is that? If you can share, like how much focus is that compared to the traditional Liquid, the connectivity services? There was a lot of talk in the past 5 years about 17,000 kilometers, 20,000 kilometers. We have just lit out fiber in this country and so much fiber. So how much focus is that when you think about maybe I would say the timeshare that digital services are getting, you as the digital chief digital officer?
Okay, yeah, another really good question. So, we actually, my role as a chief digital officer came about approximately 18 months ago, so quite predated to COVID. So we knew this was the direction that we really wanted to focus on. Before I was focused on all the product sets across Liquid Telecom, and then we split that out. And so the connectivity business was moved into another area, and I was given full dedicated focus on the digital because of the importance of it. And we've grown that digital team quite significantly, and will continue to grow it. So the question you're asking is not just specific to Liquid Telecom, but it's actually to any enterprise as it goes into the future. You're always looking at today's revenue streams versus tomorrow's revenue streams, and you've got to cross that chasm between the old and the new. Now, connectivity, fiber connectivity, data center, voice, are absolutely core to Liquid Telecom, make up the vast majority of our revenue, and will continue to do so significantly into the future. It's not really about having less focus on the connectivity or expecting less revenue from there. It's more about having additional add-on services on top of that connectivity, which really for us drives two key things. It actually gives us a lot more stickiness for our customers. So it allows us to be further and deeper engaged with our customers. So we're helping them not just at the point of a big fiber link being plugged into their basement, but actually helping them enable their business strategies and be more competitive in their own space. So it's about making them more successful through digital transformation because they're a customer of Liquid Telecom. And I think that makes a far more loyal and sticky customer than not doing it. The second thing that digital services does for us is it really generates more usage of our core assets, which is our fiber and data centers. The more that we put on top of those pipes, the more we will get a return on our investment. And I think that's obviously very important for us and our investors, but it really is about the big cost of fiber and data center building is putting it in the ground. And then adding additional capacity with the new technologies that are coming out on that same fiber strand is relatively cheap. And therefore it's a lot better for volume as we can across our existing assets. And I think digital is a great way of doing that, as well as, of course, driving what's always been our vision of Liquid Telecom is building Africa's digital future. And now we built a lot of the plumbing. It's time for us, and we have a fantastic network, 70,000 kilometers, 13 countries. It's now time for us to build a bit more of the digital dream, if you like, on top of that asset.
So interesting. So my feeling, following Liquid for some time, is I sense, so perhaps that are to the 18 months that you're talking about, you in the role of Chief Digital Officer, because I felt as if there was a shift within Liquid towards being this.
I missed one word. What did you, in Liquid? Did you say shift?
A shift, yes.
Okay, yeah.
A shift towards being really the enterprise solutions guy. So initially, there seems to be a thrust towards smaller businesses, startup type businesses, but right now you really seem to be focused on more established corporates. Is that observation correct?
So I think you've got to always be a little bit careful in how you analyze Liquid Telecom, because we are obviously a large company, but in a number of different countries. And in different countries, we do apply slightly different strategies based on the obviously maturity of the market, our positioning in the market, etc. So it's a little bit hard sometimes to generalize overall, because obviously, for example, in Zimbabwe, we have an incredibly strong consumer business through Zoll and that acquisition. In other countries, we have a much bigger focus on the enterprise, whether that's big enterprise or small enterprise. So, I think, you are following Liquid. It's very important. And of course, we have a massive wholesale business too. So it's very important to understand the different parts that make up Liquid Telecom. We have ADC, which we see now as the Africa data centers, big significant part of Liquid Telecom as well. So we are really a large telecoms group. And you've seen some discussions recently around liquid intelligent technologies. That is really us trying to move ourselves and to talk to the shifting patterns in the market of we are doing more than just telco. And so the segments that we do this in really does depend on the countries. So from a general perspective, we are still focused on all of the industry, all of the different segments that I've just mentioned, very significantly. They all play a role. When you put large investments of capex into the ground, it's very important to sweat those assets as best you can. And the best way to do that is make sure that you are covering as many of those segments as possible. Now, so therefore, we do absolutely have a strategy that continues to strongly push the wholesale. But we also have a strategy that is focused on the large enterprises, which is to really help them do their digital transformation. And those Pan-African enterprises are the ones that we are extremely well placed to help serve. Because regardless of where your branch offices are across the African continent, particularly focused in Southern and East Africa, we are there and can offer you those services seamlessly across all of those countries. So you can see how we would appeal very well to that sort of Pan-African size enterprise. But there's also no doubt in my mind, and that of Liquid, is that the SME space, and again, how do you define SME? It obviously varies dramatically between different countries in Africa. But let's just say broadly, the sort of 25 employee up to probably 150, 200 employee mark is a massive growth opportunity in Africa, and we are most certainly developing and offering products in there. Now, obviously, the go-to-market strategies could be a little bit different depending on which countries you're in. Some you might do through partnerships, some you might do direct. But I think really, as an overall comment, I would say that we're making sure that we play very strongly in all of the segments that you mentioned, and we have very good strategies and teams that are focused in all of those areas.
So that sort of like makes us maybe into what I was curious about, and you touched on it a bit, the partnership. So you're saying the partnership model. So you're saying it's different per market. In some markets, you are going direct to the customers, and maybe I'm getting a sense this is for Pan-African type businesses like, say, an Old Mutual, whereas in countries where where IT consulting companies already have a foothold in a company and they have a relationship, you'd rather go through them?
Yeah, look, again, it really depends on which country we're talking about. It's hard to give you a generalized approach to it. I think it is all about, certainly in the digital space, scale is very important. So how do we economically get to a scale position? The thing about telco space, and particularly the ICT space and the new cloud technologies, is that no one owns any market, right? It's such a varied and wide landscape that we need to understand what areas we play in our best as ourselves, and also in what areas we work together with partners better to bring in these solutions. So it really depends on the market and the solution itself that's going out to the product, to the customers. It is, the cloud world is massive. The cybersecurity world is absolutely massive as well. Liquid Telecom will never have the ability itself to deliver absolutely every service or to service absolutely every customer, and that's ultimately a very good thing anyway. So what you'll see is that the telco space is kind of merging with the Silicon Valley space, and those two are coming together, and the mindsets are starting to blend, right? Telco has, I think, traditionally been a much more direct market, less partnership-led. The cloud space, or what I would call the Silicon Valley mindset, is much more partnerships, ecosystem-based, and those two things are coming together. And I think Liquid Telecom has never been a traditional telco. We've always done things a little bit differently. We've always been very agile on our feet, quick to move, and we continue to be that today. And I think that really puts us in a fantastic position to service these markets. And yes, as I said, each market is different, and our positions and obviously the maturity of the markets are also different. And so we do take we are very focused on being local. We have very strong management teams in every single country. And I think that localization is always been important to Liquid Telecom, and that results in slightly different strategies as we go forward. And I think that's a very important part of it. We're not one large multinational that just enforces itself on the local markets. We have a very good, strong local team everywhere.
So talking of those strong local teams, right? So when you launched the intelligence services, saying, hey, it's no longer just telecoms who are doing this, there was quite I think 3 mentions of the word skills, how you as a group had to restructure and to think through the skills that you have. So how has that been, just getting the skills right for that transition?
I mean, extremely difficult. And I think there is a massive shortage of skills in this particular space across the world, globally, not just in Africa. And I think it's by the way, this whole thing is, to me, is much more of a journey than a destination. And we are on a journey of transformation for ourselves and our customers, and supporting our customers in their own transformation journey. So it absolutely is a journey. It's not a destination. It's not a pinpoint, big bang approach that we're taking. We are transforming ourselves and the industry and the markets and our customers as we go along. Skills is particularly cloud, digital, cybersecurity skills are globally short, and we feel that just as much as everybody else. We have training programs internally. We've been supporting the external market as well to sort of prime the pump, if you like, in the markets. I think our 21st Century Skills Initiative is a very good example of that, not run by my team, but within Liquid Telecom to get that out and to enable more people in Africa to get and obtain these digital skills, because they are globally required and can be delivered from anywhere. And I think that's the beauty about the new world, is that and Thomas Friedman wrote a great book about the Earth is flat. It's very true. There is nothing stopping a very highly skilled cloud or cybersecurity person sitting anywhere in the world offering their services globally, and that is happening all the time. And so I think Africa, with its on average much lower younger population, with an enormous thirst for knowledge, is extremely well positioned. And we see a lot of large companies, enterprise companies, and cloud companies like Microsoft, AWS, Google, etc., making big investments in Africa and in the training and in the skills. So it's absolutely a challenge that every business has. And incidentally, this is also why our products and offerings to those businesses to help them transform is so important, because we are battling to get the skills, equally so are they. And very often those skills are becoming more and more expensive because of the scarcity. It makes more sense for an enterprise to outsource a lot of this work to somebody like Liquid Telecom that has those skills in-house. And we continue to develop those all the time.
There's I think this will be my last question actually. There was initially a lot of focus in terms of digital services on Microsoft projects, like whole events, and I'm sure at AfricaCom last year there was a lot of talk about Microsoft. But now we hear there's Nextco, for example. There's I think I saw one more on your digital marketplace platform on the website. So is that a thing? Is Liquid now sort of now not identifying itself with Microsoft, because there was a lot of that. You see Liquid, you see Microsoft, Azure, and stuff, and trying to diversify and get as many cloud first service providers on board, and is therefore this marketplace thing, what is it supposed to be exactly, and how is it going to work?
Okay, great question there, Ian McCartney. Microsoft is a really phenomenal company and a great product set, and are very focused on the partner ecosystem, and we are a very big partner of Microsoft. And all the help and assistance they've given us in sort of retooling ourselves and in understanding the new business models and the product sets themselves, including, by the way, their big commitment to Africa. They were the first of the big five to actually deploy their cloud in Africa. And when we looked at where should we start, and it was always a starting point, it made a lot of sense to look at a large cloud provider like that has invested in Africa. They've got a great product set and is very partner or channel driven. So it was never our intention to be single cloud only. I mean, everything in this world is multi-cloud. On average, I think an enterprise is using 7 to 8 different clouds at any one time. So for us to offer a full set of products to our customers, we could obviously not sit with just one cloud. Having said that, Netscope, for example, which is a new age network, is really about making sure that there is You have great access to your applications, whether they're on-prem or in the cloud, making sure your customers are secure. It's effectively the modern age VPN service. So it's not a product that directly competes with other ones that we had on there already, and it is a great solution for that. Another one, you may have been talking about CRA, Cyber Risk Aware. They really into building a human firewall or human sensors within your organization, so that they do simulated phishing attacks, for example. Make sure all your team are trained and understand the risk of cybersecurity. We've got a bunch of other ones coming online at the moment to our marketplace. So it's really about ensuring that there is a wide choice to our customers for the different problems that they're trying to find solutions for. And you will see more and more being added in all the time. And as I said, they are largely complementary. And often companies will make decisions based on the large platforms that they want to be using for various reasons. And therefore we are, not tied into one. I want to make sure we have the best options for our customers. You can see, I think there have been big announcements by some of the other cloud providers that are coming into Africa. We're absolutely extremely well interconnected to those networks, so we can offer a great service everywhere. But there's no doubt that Microsoft has the first mover advantage, and are very well located in the African continent. It's all really about latency, bandwidth capacities, because as more and more moves into the cloud, you need to be closer and closer to the cloud. So those companies, we see all of them, AWS, Google, everyone, Alibaba, or AliCloud rather, they are all really pushing hard into the African continent because they know they need to be near those customers.
Okay.
And just to maybe mention on our marketplace, yes, marketplace.liquidcloud.africa is a one-stop shop for SMEs, for enterprises of really any size to be able to buy those cloud services, and for our significant reseller community as well, to really allow them to buy the services all from Liquid Telecom without having to have different contracts with different providers when they want to use them. And really the self-service part of it is what we want to focus on going forward. You should be able to sign up instantly, get access to the cloud application that you bought, and then get billed through a single billing infrastructure that we have at Liquid Telecom. So, watch that space, it will continue to grow.
Oh, okay. So it's starting to make sense now. And David, we know we don't. Well, it is. It is. It is. So we know you don't have much time, and so this will be our last question, perhaps to then give you an opportunity to sell Liquid Telecom. So the last question really is, who would you consider competition? So what you've just mentioned there about the marketplace and being a one-stop shop, I find that to be quite interesting. So if you are to say, hey, here's our competition on the African continent, who would that be? And why would customers then go for Liquid Telecom and not the competition?
Yeah, I mean, that's a long question as well, quite honestly. As I said to you earlier, Liquid Telecom plays in a number of different spaces, and therefore it's not always easy to see who's our direct competitor, because I'm hoping that we're positioning ourselves with unique value propositions that make it harder to find a single competitor. There's obviously a lot of people that compete with us in the telco space. There's a lot of companies that compete with us in the, let's say, the cloud space. There's a lot of companies that compete with us in cybersecurity. But what Liquid Telecom has done here is by bringing together this what we call the Liquid trifecta, which is bringing together network, cloud, and cybersecurity into one, and looking at how those different parts of your ecosystem intersect. So, for example, you've got network and cloud bringing you cloud connectivity or cloud networking, huge part of the business going forward. How do we connect businesses efficiently, reliably, affordably, and securely to the cloud? Once they're in the cloud, how do we help them with their networking within the cloud? Because there's a ton of networking capabilities now within the major cloud providers. And then how do you use the cloud itself to do your branch office connectivity? SD-WAN is a very good example of that. So, that's a big part of it. Then you look at how cybersecurity intersects with network. So that's all about making sure that you've got security built in to the core of your network. When it comes to accessing resources, whether they're on-prem or in the cloud, how do those two come together? And then you've got cybersecurity and cloud. You're driving a lot of these services from the cloud, and you're using the cloud and the things like identity management within the cloud to provide security to your whole organization. So, other companies can provide other parts of this. Very few companies can provide the value prop of bringing together network, cloud, and cybersecurity. So, and also I think the other thing to think about is it's not necessarily about competitors. It's really about people that we can cooperate with and work with. Our marketplace is available to absolutely everybody as a reseller. We have a number of different telcos that are reselling on our marketplace, and that will continue to expand. So it's really very important for us is bringing the economies of scale, which drives down the price, and makes it accessible to everybody in Africa, any business of any size, really. And of course, in countries where we have a strong consumer play, such as Zimbabwe, we are also driving that right down to the individual users.
David, thanks a lot for your time.
It's been great, guys. I'm sorry it's short.
Really appreciate it.
It's always lovely catching up with you guys, and stay strong, and I hope I can see you in person soon.
Yeah, and we hope we can have another one of these maybe in 6 months, a year, catch up on the marketplace, since it's going to be a thing. And then, it'll be brilliant for the audience, I think, to catch up on that as well. So thank you very much for making the time. Thank you to the audience for watching, and goodbye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Ed, disconnect.